Okay, here's the latest update on Black Mountain and the no help is coming information. So there are credible sources that were at I don't know if it was on impromptu or just whoever could get their sources at the town hall meeting in Black Mountain that had something to do with Roy Cooper's little radio whatever thing he did today at like noon. And at town hall, they told the people that were there, including members of our town's emergency response team, like the firefighters, that no help was coming. And we have mixed information on that, and here's the best we can come up with at the moment based on other information as well. Okay, so they're trying to get as many supplies in as they can, right? So like obviously grocery stores aren't being resupplied, gas stations aren't, there's no gas, there's obviously no power. Tiny little pockets of people are getting a little bit of cell phone. There were people that had generators that were using gas, that had Starlink to come on like once or twice a day to give updates to those of us who could spread it, and get updates of us that were posting it to give to ham operators, and to do word of mouth. So this was an instruction by the town of Black Mountain to do word of mouth. I did receive a copy of a text that was sent out from the town of Black Mountain saying, hey, y'all need to leave if you can. So the thing is, so it was 400 communities. There's just not enough resources for all of Western North Carolina. So North Carolina, as of today, Governor Cooper said, so he's activated about 550 National Guard troops from North Carolina to the entire Western North Carolina region. Other states are activating some of their National Guard, and I think that figure was like somewhere over 5,000. And the help that people are getting are from locals who aren't as affected as much, or like locals around the area who are somehow managing to get in, locals who have managed to cut trees and get out. They're all helping each other. But another, I'm going to say rumor at this time, is part of the reason they're saying get out, like we're kind of pausing on the help, is because there's apparently another hurricane projected to come right through, and they're like, you know, the dams are still like at risk. The North Fork Reservoir information was sent out that they were going to have to open the gates to let a bunch of the water out, or it was just going to like bust, which would have been even worse. Like it would be worse if it busted, but even opening the gates to have to let some of the water out, they were telling everybody to, if they could, to get out of that area and get up to a higher elevation, because you know that's going to cause more flooding. The ground is saturated. There are private people, private citizens, private companies, or just, you know, companies that are not affiliated with the government who are volunteering their time and their equipment and everything for free to come and try to rescue people if they can find a place to land. And they are bringing in supplies. So like most of the supplies are coming from people who are somehow getting them there, and some of the people that are able to kind of get to an area, pick it up and like distribute it, and then bring some to like the next little area. That's the majority of how it's happening right now. Businesses that were not completely flooded, like there's a brewery that had like 6,000 gallons of water. They were telling people, get here, we'll give away all the water, but like we can't guarantee it's drinking water, so boil it, which they all have to boil their water anyway. But like people are running out of gas for the generators too, and there's still people trapped all over the place. People are missing still. There has been great loss of life. There have been troops. The latest I heard from someone who is a friend who was in the military and does firefighting also, although I'm not sure if it's paid or volunteering, doesn't matter, saw 2 in the town over, not actually in Black Mountain. Somebody was able to bring in a truck with some water today. Businesses are trying to cook food. Churches are donating whatever they have in their stock. So people are bringing in supplies. And that's not to say that no one from the government is helping or bringing in supplies at all anywhere, but they're essentially having to triage. It's kind of like a triage situation, like which area are we even able to help the most, because the whole region, it's hard to get to people anyway. I mean, part of the terrain is why you always hear people say we're like 20 years behind the rest of the country in like a lot of stuff, and like infrastructure, and like railroads are like, parts of them are missing, part of them that are still somehow connected, they're like hanging off that, like where the tracks was. So like help is coming, but the majority of it is really from people and companies and all this stuff. So like FEMA is there, Red Cross is there, the National Guard is there, but there is the entire region of Western North Carolina, so they're not in every single town. At least now, hopefully they can get there, and hopefully this hurricane that's coming just like disappears and doesn't come. But a lot of the people are saying, word of mouth from hearing it from officials, that this is part of the reason why, and they are saying to still evacuate Black Mountain if you possibly can. So we're trying to figure out ways. Some people are trying to think of ways to make Amazon lists, where like those shopping lists where you can like buy stuff and people will pick them up at different points to bring them in, because they're also not like letting people in either unless you're like a resident or you are some sort of rescue personnel. But the local emergency personnel, the firefighters, the police, medical people, they're helping each other, right? And neighbors are helping each other. But the majority of the help are those people, and like the Cajun Navy, and like people that are volunteering, groups that are volunteering to come there that aren't like associated with the government necessarily. And I'm not saying the government isn't helping or trying to help, but we need like helicopters to, if nothing else, just drop supplies to people if they can't land. And lots of animals were lost, like farm animals and stuff, but for any that are still there, like in the blizzard of 93, no one could get anywhere like by vehicle, so like they actually were having helicopters drop bales of hay. So people are still trapped with no water, no food, no power, but there are places that are giving water out as they can if you can get to them. And so that's what's going on currently right now.